A very good evening on what is a very special night here at CMSL HQ. It is game week 26, the final game of the regular league season and the final regular league game of this iteration, as we are set to say a fond farewell to this save with the new horizon not too far in the distance. I'm pleased to say on this most epic of days, I'm joined by the man who won the very first Super League of this iteration. Good evening, Mr. Greaves.
Hey up, Chuck, you alright?
Very, very well, thank you. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good, good. And
Ready for an exciting night.
Did you enjoy looking through some of those rogue stats that we were clicking through there? You've spent a lot of money, but across the whole save, you've actually made a profit.
Yeah, I always like to turn a profit on these sort of things. I do think that if I was actually in charge of how much I'd bid on a lot of players, it would be a lot lower because I am a stingy asshole, even though I'd have the funds available.
And it all comes down to this. We have a straight shootout, winner takes all. We've got Devils currently in 6th. Leddersford, the only team that can catch them in 7th. 3 points the gap. Devils, they are away to Fulchester tonight.
It's all around the goal difference, isn't it?
The goal difference is negligible. As long as Devils lose and Leddersford win, they qualify, because I think there's like a 1 goal difference in it.
Yeah, 1 goal.
And where was I? Leddersford, they are away to Slough. So you would argue that Leddersford have the easier game on paper, but
nothing easy in the Super League.
Nothing easy in the Super League, indeed. So all being well, despite the fact that you're here on comms, we're going to leave Devils and Leddersford to the last 2, ghost games permitting, and we'll just play the others if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine. I've not got work in the morning, so it's fantastic.
Let's see where the game wants to take us first. And it's actually your game first.
Beautiful.
Bostock Stanley away for yourselves. Obviously, you are minus a player because you kicked off the absolute barrage of messages that I got the other night by allowing Veron to return to Fulchester.
Me and Macca have always had a very amicable transfer negotiations between ourselves, helping each other out throughout the entirety of this save. I've got a lot of respect for Macca, and I knew he was dealing with a lot of injury problems, so I thought I'd help him out with the final stretch.
Well, let's have a look at the team you've gone with tonight. You're without Emmanuel Petit. Let's just take a moment. I like to, when you're on, talk about Petit. Do you think across this save, since you've proven what he is capable of, I mean, look at those solid, dependable ratings. Is he going to be considered much higher up in terms of defensive midfielders?
I hope that I can get him back. But if you look at the stats, he's never going to be top of he's never like a number 1 pick that you'd want as a DM. But every so often he's a steady set. He'll always tick over, but then he'll have a blinder when you need him to. If you look, one of the 304 when he scored 2 goals.
Yep.
They were both the last game of the season, and it was to get me through into the playoffs. Those are the only 2 goals he scored all season. So it's like he will turn up when required, but also he loves the yellow card. He's an arsehole.
Well, he's sitting out the final game of the season, as is Weedkampwis, who is injured. Here is the team you've gone for, and in true fashion for this last game of yours in this save, you've gone Loco Classic 2-6-2. And there's certainly some classic names in there in terms of Carlos, Ramelow. I'm looking at Del Vecchio up top, with Crespo getting one last outing as well.
Yeah, I wanted to give Listenov keeps his place on the bench. He's been there since the start of the season. He's
been there since the start of the save.
Yeah, since the start of the save, he is the stalwart. He'll probably come on at half time as a thank you to get the applause off the fans. Ramelow comes in because he's been here since the start of the save, the same as Cassano. Del Vecchio's been a good servant, so he gets the starting berth, and that's the same as why I really got Klompe and Lursen still staying there, because they're originals from the first. So,
and talk to me about Chris Kirkland. He's come in like an absolute training goal, hasn't he?
he's a beautiful player. I don't know why people haven't thought, especially if you have been struggling with the keeper, his stats are very solid, especially in this, how far he's progressed in the reserves. So there's not a lot. If he had higher balance, you would say he's near enough to be one of the best keepers on the game. And he has done outstanding, fantastic stuff. But 100 grand bargain.
Let's have a look at the opposition then. And Bostock are without John Welsh for this game. They've gone with a one at the back tactic, but a lot of the players sort of saying a potential final farewell at Bostock. You look at Gonzalez, you look at Jacques, you look at Lee Young Pugh, you look at Live. These are all players that Scott has really made fashionable.
Yeah, he's got a lot of his big names playing, which is always nice to see. I don't like seeing, although there's only Pride to play for, I don't like to see a lot of players rested. I like to see a nice, strong team, and that's what he's put out. Not that Scott's got many poor players in his 24, so it's a good competitive team, and it'll be interesting to see what the result is.
Are you surprised to see them languishing down in 12th?
Been very erratic with what formations, and he's been very unlucky with injuries.
No, absolutely true. Absolutely true. Let's kick off game number 1 then. As it's you, I won't ask you for a prediction, but sit back, relax, and enjoy. What's that you're drinking this evening? I can't quite work it out from here.
I'm on the Madeira tonight, or the Madri.
I am on the cherry-flavoured Pepsi Max.
Oh,
let's kick off game number 1. And
stuff.
And both sides having opportunities in the first couple of minutes, but it's certainly Bostock who have taken the ascendancy. And there is the first goal by Raul on 14 minutes. Opening scoring for the home side. Casano going close to an instant reaction, but it's 2-0. And it's Gonzalez waving goodbye with passion to the Bostock fans. And can they make it 3 before half-time? Still only 36 minutes on the clock. Loco have woken up a little bit now. Try to string a couple of attacks together, but there is the half-time whistle. And needless to say, Bostock largely in terms of attacking intent dominating that half, Greavesy.
Yeah, dominating defensively as well. Unfortunately, our players have gone on holiday already by the looks of it. 37% tackles won is absolutely atrocious. I'll be throwing teacups in the change room if I cared. And 34% headers won. So we can't header.
Can't head and can't tackle.
No, you're never going to win a game of football if you can't do those two things.
Solid ratings throughout for Bostock. Lee Young Pyo, the pick of the players if you look at ratings. And just some of the players showing how devastating they can be without seeing a lot of the ball. I mean, low touch counts for Gonzalez and Raul, but they have both scored.
Yeah, well, you don't. I wouldn't really want the striker involved a lot unless he's putting the ball in the back of the net, and that's exactly what you want.
No, absolutely. Let's bring your stats up then. We mentioned Kirkland, and he's not fared very well in that first half, but then at the other end of the pitch, Norse Casano.
No, well, they've had 3 shots on goal on target, and he's conceded 2. So, and he hasn't actually completed a pass. So all of his goal kicks have gone astray.
Are we going to see a second or another goalkeeper debut in the final game of the season?
No, I'll let Kirkland's the right to see out the shoddy performance, but I would like to make a change if possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I swap Casano and Del Vecchio and bring on Vasiliuk and Lusanov to come on for Ramanal, please?
Like that?
Yeah, that's lovely, thank you.
No worries at all. I can see that Ryan's joined us. How are you, pal? I hope all is well. Lots of chat already. To be fair, I haven't said my hello, so just while we wait to see if Scott joins to make any amendments. I said hello to Mike and to Alf and to Ian, but Steve's here, Dan's here as well. He's in charge of Gazelles for tonight. Rob's here. He's feeling nervous. Jens is here as well. I can see Swanee there. I can see Dimble's in the chat as well. Anyone else that I've missed? The other Ian, two Ians here, calling you a finished club. And Jens saying, up the Swanee, up the Five Fee, up the Greavesy, viva the Super League.
Well, Ian is correct. Locomotive Boston is a finished club because this is the last time, unfortunately, we will see them. Ready for the redraft, ready for the new rebrand.
And have you got thoughts already about new names, new colours?
I have. I've already decided what I'd like to have and what my colours will be, and it will be glorious.
Well, no sign of Scott, so let's kick off the second half and go through to 60. See how those changes by Loco affect things. And there's 3, and it's Carlos Shax, another big player under Scott's regime. And Loco have been creating a little bit, but you find yourself 3-0 down, Greasy. Would you like to make any additional amends? Going to bring Palermo on, go one at the back, and really make it exciting for the last game? Something completely out of character?
Why would I do that the last game if I'm not going to do it the first? Can I have an arrow on Paul Scholes, please? Can I have a small arrow on Roberto Carlos? A longer arrow on Willie? And Palermo one for Crespo, please.
Absolutely.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Still no sign of Scott in the chat, so let's just carry straight on towards full time. I made you admin, Ryan, as I don't trust myself to discussions about Ryan having a spanner next to his name. I'll let you draw your own conclusions. But great to see all the most recent chairmen joining in for game week 26. Martin in the chat, Ryan in the chat. Lovely to have you both here as we approach full time. There it is, and the end in this iteration of Bostock Stanley and Locomotive Boston sees the home side run out 3-0 winners. You certainly came back into it in that second half, just as is common practice, failed to actually score.
Yeah, it looks like, unfortunately, the goalkeeper let me down in this game, and my strikers failed to finish. And that's sort of summed up my season, really.
Absolutely. Let's have a quick look at the victorious, and it's almost fitting that Carlos Shax gets man of the match in this last game, isn't it?
Yeah, can we see his stats for the final?
Only if you can say it in your normal deep voice as opposed to your good Fifey impression you just did there about getting overly excited vibe.
I am just excited. He is a player that blossoms, and it will be very nice to see. I've seen a very good and I've seen a very average, and he does look like a very good one, which is very nice to see.
Scott's done very well in developing the likes of him and Live and Welsh, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's nice to see. I very rarely develop young players. They either rot in my reserves or they stagnate and can't really progress in the first team. So that looks lovely.
Let's bring your players up, and there's plenty of 5s, fair few 6s. I mean, it's as average as you'd possibly want to see. Lucenov, however, was refusing to end his Loco career in anything but glory.
Lucenov loves a substitution display. I don't actually, if you click, I don't actually think he's ever has he managed 10 appearances in the 5 seasons?
Yes, just. Although consistently makes 4 sub appearances a season.
That's because of I guess I have on average 4 red cards a season.
Wow. Well, it has to be said. In terms of what you've both achieved this year, obviously you got the star, so congratulations for you. You made the player. You made a second final as well, didn't you? A couple of years back, and Scott has proven that playing the long game can work because he has developed, as we said, some excellent talent. So congratulations to both. As Ryan's now realised he can delete people's comments from the chat, he is going through and wiping everyone's comments. It's literally just him now in the chat. Let's move on to game 2, and it's Astor Athletic versus Northern Burn. So much talk this season about mystery players and this and that from Alf. One thing he has done, and you can't take away, is exceeded expectations of a lot of his counterparts. They sit in 10th. That's more or less the position they're going to finish in. Give or take a position either side. But I think they've done quite well. They were right up in the playoff mix until 1-2 games ago.
Yeah, he's done really well. I think Alf has been hampered by everyone remembering who drafted who in the first season and keeping track of transfers. So his mystery man has fallen on deaf ears, unfortunately, this season. This iteration. He was trying it a lot season 1, but then realised everyone had to print out a sheet of who was in his team. It didn't really pay off as well. It'll be interesting to see how astute transfer-wise he'll be in the next iteration.
Well, absolutely. And what he is doing is he's given a few people another chance, just to remind everyone of their talents. We've got Robbie Fowler up front, Lewis Bowen-Morte in attacking midfield. He's continuing to persist with Pirlo. He's playing centre midfield on his own. And Weston Brown back together again in the heart of that defence. And he's going with his a sort of old school tactic. This is what he used back in the day.
Yes, old school Alf. Pirlo continues to be the Crespo of centre midfielders, which doesn't bode well. That is just appalling. It'd just be interesting to see. I think I'm surprised put Lundberg on the bench. I thought he'd done well for him when he brought him in, and there's a couple of players I'm surprised aren't more prominent in his team, but Alf knows what he's doing. Be good to see.
Northern Burn got a point last time out against Bostock, which kept them in it. There's 1 point separating them from Sloths, who will play later tonight. So to avoid, hang on, let me work this out. Sloths considerably better goal difference as well. No, that's not right, is it?
Yeah.
16. Oh yeah. Big difference. So Burn need to win tonight, and Ian goes unchanged. So Defoe continues to lead the attack with Robin and Brozek in behind. Totti and Aymar in centre midfield with Roy Keane playing that holding midfield role. They certainly got the squad capable of winning this game, haven't they?
Well, they've got a squad capable of winning the whole thing. If you look at it, it's a team really without weakness that has unfortunately befallen bad luck. They got a bad run of games at the start of the season and then were unable to get out of it. There weren't many times that he's been convincingly thumped. No. It's just goals dried up for him, and it just stopped.
There's some conversation in the chat, just going back to Asta, about Honsho being grossly underused. Ryan pointing out that he also is a 2-time Super League winner. Tato saying that when he was Asta, he had him playing some quality football, so that would have been that season there. But only 9 appearances. Do you think he's the sort of defender who should have been playing more games?
Yes.
What was his record? I just showed you his record. There's his record last season. There you go. 733 is solid, says Tato. But you've got to understand, I suppose, with Taribo West and Wes Brown, that's a solid defensive partnership as well, isn't it?
Alf Wes Brown this season, hasn't he? Wes Brown's done well for him. Taribo is, you know what you're getting with Taribo. So, I can understand why the players that you sort of trust, aren't they?
Absolutely. Well, let's get back to the action then and ask you for a score prediction, please.
Northern Burn 1-0.
Northern Burn 1-0, which might be enough to keep Ian off the bottom. Keane goes in the book very early. And Asta want a penalty and get a penalty, and it's saved. Sander Westerveld. Definitely a contender for goalkeeper of the season. Unbelievable since he's come in. And he saves a Rossini penalty.
Is Westerveld going to be high up on people's shopping lists?
Certainly be interesting. He is definitely one who will be in people's thoughts after his performances this year. Still both sides going at it. I'd say Asta arguably are creating a bit more as the home side, but failing to convert. And that's dangerous when they're playing against a team with the quality of Northern Burn. And there it is. Oh, it's been ruled out. So they've missed a penalty. They've had a goal ruled out. Surely this time, and it's Perlo from 20 yards. Gives Asta the lead. And it's 2, and it's Wes Brown. And Northern Burn have completely fallen apart. Westerveld saved a penalty. They've had a goal disallowed, Greavesy, and yet Asta still find themselves 2-0 up.
The narrative has been very effective against the formation, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And they are creating plenty, as the text commentary suggested.
Could we see old school Alf fully on next season?
Well, quite possibly. He's again been to a final. He's had playoff seasons. He knows how to get there. So quite possibly when a squad is fully his own again. Let's have a look at their ratings, and it's quite solid throughout. Shay Given having a good performance between the sticks, Liverani and Perlo, and Emerson doing well in midfield. Robbie Fowler and Rossini, maybe, it seems strange to say when you're 2-0 up, but maybe looking at that and just wanting a little bit more from the front men.
Yeah, but it's a bit harsh on Rossini's misplaced 3 passes and had 1 shot off target. You can't really. It's a bit of a harsh 6, really. He's won the only header he's gone up for, and he's made a tackle. You can't really want much more for a big striker.
Just going through the chat, Alf saying he could have been 4 up. Steve saying Liverani 8 is a joke. Tato, Perlo is purely a set piece taker, even on this game. Hodgie wants a mystery man on. And Alf going as is. Got to run. Can someone apologise to Jens for me, says Ryan. It was nice to have you with us. Jens is back as well. He's commented just above you in the chat. Let's have a look at Northern Burn. And, well, this sums up their season, doesn't it? That is ugly and average.
Yeah, Roy Keane has failed, is flattered to deceive at CDM this season for him. I firmly believe that Roy Keane is a centre midfielder instead of a CDM. And yeah, it's not good viewing for him, unfortunately. Totti has just wandered round, same as Aymar. They've just looked, there's people run past him by the looks of it.
Just waiting comment from Ian if he wants to change anything at
all.
And
you got Ashley Cole and Brett Emerton are just standing open on the flanks going, well, I'm not coming inside to tackle anyone. What are you?
Hodgie saying Keane is just over the hill now at 34. Been shit here, Ian, in case you didn't realise, says Tato. And then a massive message. So let's go through this. So Cole off for Ibra. So he's going for it, that's for sure, in the last game.
No, he's playing him left back.
Robin ML with a small arrow.
Ooh.
Emerton MR with a small arrow. Oh, Ibra up front. I missed that one. Oh, no, try that again.
Brozek and on. Go free, have Brozek up as well. He's not
Kennedy for Totti.
Ooh.
Little arrows on Kennedy and Aymar. I'm presuming you want Brozek centralising, Ian? If you can just...
No, he can be on your phone. I'd have him up front. He's not an AMC.
Jens saying Keane is at the age he will leave Man United on a Bosman. And Steve saying Ibra on DML instructions worries me. Just wait Ian's confirmation on Brozek, what he wants to do with him, and then we will continue. Brozek up front on the right of a free. Yes, he is going for a free.
Good lad.
Alf's probably now reconsidering his no changes, but let's see how that works out for Ian. Can he pull this one back? It's still Asta very much in the ascendancy. Westerveld continues to pull off save after save after save. Surely it's only a matter of time. And Kennedy puts it over the bar for Byrne. Classy and love that reference to the tactical change. Asta continuing to dominate Greavesy. Byrne just cannot.
They can't head around they can't compete with an arrow, can they?
No.
Too light in the centre.
Ambrosini 78% and on a yellow. Would you just be bringing him off just to avoid going down to 10?
No. It's a myth.
Are you in the fitness is a myth camp, are you?
I never look at it. I look just before kick-off, and if it's below 90, I usually don't play them. But also, if they're in form and I can't be bothered, I'll just play them anyway.
While we wait for Alf to confirm, let's just have a look at Byrne. There's not much else they can do here. But they have to continue to try. Playing for pride, still trying to get off the bottom. It'd be absolute scenes if they can make it 3-2 and pile all the pressure on Slops.
They take Aymar off for Toldo and put Toldo up front with Brozic behind. Brozic behind 3 and have Toldo in the centre as a central striker.
Hodgie saying he never checks fitness after kickoff. Asta are making changes. Placente for Ambrosini. Youngberg for Boa Morte. Would you have been, if you were going to do that, would you have been tempted to swap Placente and Liverani around?
I'd have been tempted not even to have Placente in a 24.
Ian's saying as is, so let's carry on with this one and see if Byrne can get themselves back into it. And there is the goal from Pirlo, makes it 3-0 with his third goal since transferring. And Pirlo's got a hat-trick! Pirlo's got a hat-trick for Asta. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Now I wonder what I can get off Alf if I draft Pirlo.
He must certainly have long shot instructions and stuff. Those are all set pieces.
Can we look? Are they all free kicks? Are they all free kicks?
Let's find out. So there's Rossini's penalty.
I'm surprised Pirlo wasn't on penalty duty personally.
When did he first score?
37.
There you go. Excellent sliding tackle from Emerson, dispossessing. Pirlo looked up, checked for movement, struck the ball. So that doesn't look like it was a free kick.
He was. He put his foot on the ball first. Stopped it.
Pirlo headed the ball on and then scored a lucky goal. So that wasn't a free kick. The third one was a free kick. So one of the 3 was a free kick. Pirlo shouldn't be anywhere near the draft, says Tato. Game is broke, Paulson 2.0, says Macca. What else we got? Duggan just laughing. Whoever drafts...
I didn't know. It is the fact the Paulson one did break the game because he scored a hat-trick and only got an 8 rating.
Hodgie's saying whoever drafts Pirlo is doing Alf over. Jens is hoping he gets Pirlo in the draft. Dimble asking what the actual fuck. Beautiful end to a great season.
Yeah, if you look at his second goal, it was Emerson cleared the ball from danger. Pirlo headed the ball
on. What else we got? Duggan mutes the Super League chat. Ian, as I say, saying beautiful end to a great season. Well played. Ian, don't worry. The hurt is almost over and the redraft is coming on. What else have we got here going on in the chat? Build back stronger. Hashtag build back stronger, says Dimble. Brush the ashes under the carpet. Swanee just saying mental. And Jens saying, you'll be back, Ian. Got a star to leave with. Not many did that. Let's just have a quick word then as we look through the stats on both managers and their form in this iteration. As we say, Alf had a troubled time. He started in it. He had to leave for his own personal reasons. He got back involved, got his club back, has potentially overachieved with it. And
has he got a hot? Well, the time will tell. Did he finish higher than what Tato did with Asta?
What, last season?
Yeah.
I can't remember where Asta finished.
Well, he was manager of the season candidate, wasn't
he? Keeper has had a stinker for me, Westerveld out. It'll be someone else next year, says Hodgie. As for Ian, it has to be said, much like yourself, he leaves this iteration with a star. So yes, he'll be disappointed that he's finished bottom in the last save, but these things happen, and not many of us have got stars to our name.
No, there's not many of us. Ebbs and flows of the Super League.
Sander Westerveld concedes 4 goals and still gets a 7 rating.
Well, he's made a lot of saves, really. If you look, I think he's made 4 saves out of 8. I'm a firm believer is you don't really want to have more than 4 shots against you. So if you the less saves a keeper has got to make, the more chance you are of winning.
Next up, we've got Hull's Vikings against Churchtown. This game means absolutely nothing to anybody. Both sides already got the queue. Neither can finish anywhere other than where they are. Well, I suppose Hull's can drop 1 place, but Churchtown can't finish second. So a chance to just sit back and enjoy a game. Churchtown make changes.
Resting a lot. Do you break? It's always the risk. It's because it's a nothing game. You rest a lot of your big players, but if you lose, do you lose that form?
Scotty's just joined the chat, but just caught up. Good game, Greavesy.
Yeah, well played, Scott. Good luck for the redraft. Hope you see you next season.
Alf asking, can we have a season 6? Let's have a look at the Churchtown team. So Oliver Kahn back in goal. Balde partners Materazzi. We've got Kaluzny and Mield. Donny is out on the left with Holland on the right, and Hersey comes in for Brujink.
Yeah, he's rested. He's brought Matt Holland, who's just a reliable hand to fill in that right hand side while he rests. Is Zambrotta injured or is he rested?
Hodgie, Churchtown will want 3rd over 4th to play at home later. #know the game. Is who injured, sorry?
Is Zambrotta injured? And well, Volodenkov's suspended, so he gets out of the way and he's resting Zambrotta. Yeah, it's a wise decision, really. You only get the home advantage for the first leg, don't you? So I think it's better.
But then again, if he qualifies, obviously, well, I think what Hodgie's saying is the second one, if you finish 3rd, you're definitely at home.
Yeah, but if you're always used to playing away, it's the way you got to look at. If you're outside the top 2, you're away for the final, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't think it matters in that order.
Dimball pointing out that Zambrotta and Brujink both on free bookings is the reason that they're being rested.
Meh.
Meh.
What'll be. If they get 2 bookings in the next 2 games, they miss
the final.
Do you want to miss? Yeah, they miss a game. So, well, no, because they'll miss they'll miss the chance to then get through the final. Isn't it?
Harasimovic makes his debut. Hull's also resting people because mainly for the same reason. They've got Malevsky, Campbell, Candea and Contra 1 yellow away from suspension. Rustico is suspended for this one.
See, I find it interesting. Would you rather miss them for the first game of a second leg or the second game?
I think the first game's important, isn't it? Because you don't want to come out of it being like 4 or 5-0 down.
No, but you don't really want to go into it like having a close game, and then being 3 players suspended.
So having a look at the team, Julio Arca makes his debut for Hulls. Song Jong Cook makes his his first start for the club. He's had 1 sub appearance. Didier Gaff in a familiar right centre midfield position. And Mido, who we established at the beginning of the show, is a valuable member of the first team, starts up top alongside a man that you'll know very well.
Yeah, he's a little hit and hope that didn't really hope too much. He scored on his debut, then got a 5, and I don't tolerate them performances.
Maka seems somewhat confused that Arca is now in the Hulls team. Yes, Maka, it was all part of that pillaging of reserves. And I tried to get you to promote him into your first team, and you didn't. So because he was there, Jens put a bid in. Dimble's saying, I've got no idea what I'm doing. It felt right at the time. And Steve saying, I asked Dimble the same, Greavesy. I'll never rest stroke drop as it worked last season. Let's go to match.
Give him the number one. Give him the number one.
Number one isn't available. A score
It is.
prediction then, please, for Hulls against Churchtown.
I say Churchtown 1-0.
Churchtown 1-0.
Hussein will carry on his.
The reserves pillaging was worse than late Lonegate, says Macca. Hulls seeing plenty of the ball early doors.
But we've got to thank everyone because of mine and Macca's shithousery in the response. I haven't laughed so hard in such a long time. And I want to thank you all.
Hodgie saying it was on a par. Steve saying Greavesy ratings don't matter. Also Greavesy, I won't tolerate a 5. We are approaching half-time. Not much going on here. Both sides, as we alluded to, have made changes. So just players trying to find some form going into the playoffs, and it is 0-0 at half-time. But both sides creating. It's been an even game, and one that either side will feel that they can still go on and win.
Yeah, Churchtown have been putting the boot in quite a bit, and
fair few fouls in there.
Yeah, and it's nice to see. A lot of yellow cards. Is that going to affect his selection for the next one? Could there be someone on 2 yellow cards, so they might miss the final?
We will soon see. Partridge voice, stop doing football wrong, says Hodgie. Let's have a look at the home side. Baldini and Gerard are in the book. Fairly solid ratings, but Mido and Gerard, the more disappointing of the players. Interesting to see that those three, if you include Pjanovic as well, again, not seeing a great deal of the ball. I mean, Mido up there hasn't even had a shot. Yet Julio Arca playing at left wing back has had 3.
Arca might be taking free kicks.
He may well be. He may well be. I cannot comment. Let's have a look over at Churchtown as Jens confirms as I tick over. Leave it to 60. Not exactly a stellar performance by Churchtown, but Oliver Kahn back between the sticks and ever dependable.
Yeah, all the players seem a bit nervy, don't they? They don't want to get injured and ruin the chances.
No, and maybe as Hodgie was saying, Dimble drilling into them before the game the importance of finishing third potentially. We will wait confirmation if Dimble is changing anything. We know that Hulls are staying as is. Smuts has joined the chat. Smell my loan deal, you mother. Indeed. Needless to say, the goings-on this week with regards to final day transfers will not be happening again. I will be ensuring that is the case with the redraft. I've heard Fifey had monkey tennis as an alternative to the reserve pillage, says Hodgie. Harasimovic is coming on for Agahawa, so another first-team player gets a bit of a rest. Dim's defo drills into his players and Steve, says Ian. Let's go to 60 then and see if we could possibly see a debut goal. And it's Hulls who have started the half quickest. Can they get the goal? They can. Oh, Gerard has been ruled offside, and then shitloads of time goes past. So we pause it on 69 minutes. Hulls thought they'd taken a lead. We just followed the rules. Our morals and ethics are top notch. I've just realised actually we didn't get a chance to comment. I don't know if you spotted it, Greavesy. So while I just bring up the condition for Hulls here, you may recall there was a message in the chat after all the goings on that much to that statement that Hulls had decided they didn't want to be part of it in the end. They were happy with their lot. They weren't going to be amending anything, blah, blah, blah. Do you remember that message?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Did you happen to notice anything on the team screen? I'll take that as a no.
No.
After that message, Sigalko did sign on loan for Hulls. They did
Ah,
send back Diego Tristan. And yes, so Sigalko did join on loan and didn't get selected for this game. There was also a message, and this is why we'll be banning any of this sort of shenanigans in the future. So Jens begged and pleaded to have it done. I got it done, but because I didn't announce it straight away, it was like, forget it. I'm like, no, I'm not forgetting it now. It's done. And you've already
send
sent
it back.
Tristan back. I said, you can't
Send it
waste
back
my
now.
time. What have we got here? It's going off with Steve just saying Maxim with lots of M's. Finished player, put him AMC with an arrow. All right, so we've got DC.
I think if Jens wants to stick to his morals, you should cancel the loan deal.
Right, DC on Famido. Put him AMC with an arrow centrally behind centrally Pjanovic. Take the arrow off Gerard. Thanks. Got to be asterisks next to this debacle. Hall's got Maxim, says Tato. I didn't see that one. A complete circus, this, says Ian. I remember when this used to be a league of gentlemen, says the other Ian. Not going to happen, Greavesy, following the rules. Technically, I mean, you're being very technical there, Jens. You had a loan deal sorted. You only cancelled it because someone else did a loan deal. Absolute mockery, Edwards. Indeed, and that is why I was left fuming with all of the shenanigans. I could just about understand it of Ian, because he didn't have a loan player and completely took his eye off the ball. And had I not have said anything about Fulchester, he wouldn't have even cared. But I was disappointed in Halls as a last resort cancelling a loan to get another one. I was a bit disappointed, I can't lie.
Especially because Tristan had scored that game as well.
Anyway, that's that change done. Let's have a look at Churchtown. No, I cancelled it because Maxim was available. No rule against that. The tears in the comments taste delicious. Again, Jens, you would not have cancelled it if the Fulchester loan wasn't announced, is all I'm saying.
I still say we go off what he announced, saying that he's a club of morals and standards, and they won't be getting anyone in on loan.
What have we got here? Ebby San, the best loan signings since loans began, says Steve. As if Jens managed to get Maxim over the line, but Haggis didn't get the pole, says Tato. The loans are a fucking shambles, says Rob. Paxim Sigalko with a P. Thank you, 5 feet. I'll get the post office tomorrow after work. Thank you. Halls won't win it anyway, says Hodgie. Mendes for Materazzi and Guerrero for Petrov, says Dimble. So we have got one manager still plugging away. Mendes for Materazzi and Guerrero for, who did I say, Petrov? And then roll. Mind games, says Jens. And he puts that one straight at you. So we will slow this one down, just because. There's still anyone's game. Plugging away.
At the end of the day, me and Macca were very cloak and dagger with our shithousery, but the person who should get most of the blame is Duggan.
For allowing the circus on his watch, because it's all his players.
Where he's just turned around, oh, if anyone in the top 6 wants any of my players, you can have them. Oh, please, let me help you, please. Fuck off.
Well, I don't want to offer any spoilers, but Mike has put in the chat, fixed term loans needed maybe, no takesy backsy. So what I said was, on the loans, was both managers had to agree. What I am going to bring in is, yes, once you've got your loan, that is it for the season, because we're not having these sorts of shenanigans again.
With the loan player, I believe it was under 9 games played last season, or when it first came in, that they had to have played less than 9 games. Yes,
and you know what the lesson here, Greasy, is? As a chairman, I try and give all the managers what they want. You want more freedom to transfer players, and this is what happens. I give a little, you all take a lot. So maybe the lesson here is you can all go fuck yourselves.
I believe that Veron had the less than 9.
I think Tato's suggestion is class. Fuck fixed term loans, just block them after the 20th game or something. I'm going to be bringing all sorts of rules in. Don't you worry. No matter what, there's going to be an option A and an option B when we have the conversation on Sunday, Tato. But either way, I'm bringing in lots of. We want more caps. It's done. Julio Arca on his Hull's debut, getting man of the match. As for Churchtown, it's just a solid away performance. Neither manager would have been too concerned. Churchtown have all but secured third, unless Dudley win, I think. But again, we don't need to discuss these two managers because their season continues. Mm-hmm. Ian saying, fucking ban Greavesy right now from transfers, Fifey, piss taker extraordinaire. Draw number 50.
Is he actually going to do it himself, or is he had a chat and had someone else to come in and do all the work for it? Because if he actually finally wins, which has took him 94 years to actually fucking do, it's going to say Ian on the rocks. /Swan /Tato. And if he actually loses a lot, if he gets humped in the playoffs, is he going to throw his toys out this pram and get someone else to manage it?
We've got Dragons against Dudley next. Again, it's worth saying. Stop interrupting!
In one of the other chats, he might be kicking off saying he's going to quit again.
Shut up and stop interrupting. I'm going to kick you off in a minute. Again, it's worth noting that we will see Jens and Imble in the playoffs. Someone else we will see is Steve. We'll discuss his Dudley Hillside in a minute. I've decided I'm too nice, Greavesy. And that might have to change in new iteration, because not only did Dragons take the piss in allowing every player to be available for loan, they then also named a player who wasn't technically in their first team squad for this game.
The second time this season.
Well, indeed. However, as they sent 2 players out on loan, I did allow it. You'll notice here that Risp has not been in the first team at any point, but he was named in the starting lineup. Duggan just doing whatever the hell he likes as usual. Again, rules will be brought in to stop managers pissing about, and if they carry on to do so, then I will just sack them. Kick him off and get on with it, says Dimble. But apart from picking whoever the hell he likes, this is the team he's gone with. No Sigalko, and you'll also notice that the Polish lad is unavailable for this one as well.
It's nice to see the Dragons reserves getting the full run-up.
Yep. Former Haggis wingback Duljaj makes his Dragons debut. Zidane wears the captain's armband, and Carew partners Heskey up top. Risp wasn't in the Rezzies, was he? Yes. Yes, he was. He was in the Rezzies until about 2 hours ago. Haggis, Ian saying, ooh, Fifey, can you mute PRG, please? Yes, I can. Controversial 23 there, says Dan. Nothing really surprising. Nice to see Michael Carrick finally getting a run out. Not had nearly enough exposure for a player of his talents. Literally only his second start in the save. Emil Heskey starts up top as well. It's Juan next to Risp. And Paul Robinson in goal. As for Dudley Hill, they are without Roy Mackay. They are without Thuram, who's suspended. But as per his earlier comments, despite some key players on yellow cards, Vogel and Addo both start. What a striker partnership. 200 kgs of meat, says Jens. We've got Luca Toni continuing up front. Sand partners Keane in behind. It's still pretty much first team. Isn't it?
Nice
Simic makes his debut.
It's nice to see he hasn't dropped anyone. I'm not a fan of Ebby Sand at AMC, and I prefer Robbie Keane as a lone AMC. So that's surprised me a little bit, really. But yeah, it's Dudley Hill written all over it, isn't it? I'm surprised that Simic is starting over Genev, but.
Smut saying, nice to see Paul Robinson start on the eve of Neighbours' last ever episode. There you go. Someone has
you don't care so much. If you cared, you'd have watched it. And if you'd watched it, they wouldn't have cancelled it.
A score prediction, please, for Dragons against Dudley Hill. Reminder of how this one sits. If Dudley win, they claim third spot.
Dudley Hill will win 2-0.
Dudley to win 2-0. And there's the first. And it's Addo scoring after just 4 minutes. I'm sure that said his first ever goal, but it can't be his first ever. I'm sure his name's popped up before. Maybe it's his first of the season. And Heskey scores his first ever Dragons goal to make it 1-1. Both sides going at it, that's for sure. 28 minutes on the clock. Another opportunity for Dudley Hill. And Robinson with another save. And Luca Toni very much in the action, but failing to convert. Another chance goes begging for Dudley Hill. The away side absolutely dominating here, but failing to convert. And you know what that means, because Dragons are more than capable of scoring. We've seen that time and time again this season. Ending the half strong on the home side. And it concludes 1 apiece. Dudley largely dominant, it seemed from the commentary there, Greaves. Here's a click on the stats, but Dragons looking dangerous on the counter. Oh dear, maybe not.
Well, they were dangerous on the counter. They just haven't had a chance to counter them all. Paul Robinson is pulling up trees, isn't he?
Another goalkeeper making a claim. Being Dudley's best player this season, Addo. Shame he's only been picked 3 or 4 times, says Tater. We mentioned that a few times off air, didn't we? The amount of good players that haven't actually got a look in at their clubs. Paul Robinson, 9. Duljaj, debut, 8. Solid performance from him. Where else are we looking at? Michael Carrick putting in a decent performance as well. Zidane, one of his better performances. Aside from the fact they can't create anything, it's actually not too bad from Dragons.
No, it's getting there. They're a bit pinned in, aren't they? Dudley are in full flow.
Let's have a look at Dudley. Abiati, a 5 from him, conceding from the only shot on goal.
Yeah, but the issue is he's got Mazzantini on the bench, hasn't he? And that's just dangerous.
Addo is putting in a solid performance, as is Day out on that left-hand side. 6 ratings, but that's because the defenders haven't really had much to do. I'd be more concerned, given how dominant Dudley were, that Robbie Keane was on the 6.
Yeah, but a 6 at half time can easily turn into an 8.
Oh, of course it can. Of course it can. We will just wait confirmation from either manager. Here we go. Duggan's making his changes. So we've got Dyer coming on for Saeed. Montella for Riquelme. And 3 up top, Arrow halfway on Zizou. Just like so. As for Dudley Hill, Sand is going to the right of 2 strikers. Robbie AMC with the Arrow. So both sides making tactical changes to try and influence the outcome of this fixture. Let's see who it patterns out for. Dragons already looking a lot more dangerous. But how are they leaving spaces potentially? 53 now on the clock, and Duljaj goes off injured. So again, another former Haggis player, Radoy, is going to come on. And then I imagine like that. 3 at the back?
Yeah, 3 at the back. He's bringing a centre half on, isn't he?
Radoy switch duet is the message, so I believe that means Dyer. And we continue on. 60 minutes. Dragons can't do anything now anyway other than tactical changes. I'll just bring the fitness up just so Duggan can see. But it's only tactical they can amend. As is. As for Dudley Hill, Day's rating going up to a 9. It's fairly solid throughout, but still be wanting that bit more. He could still claim that 3rd place if they can get the win. Do you think finishing 3rd will be playing on Steve's mind at this point, Greasy?
I don't know, because if he finishes 3rd, it means he plays the winner of Leddersford, either Leddersford or Devils, doesn't it? So
it could possibly play Halls.
Yeah, could. I think you just got to take a look at the draw in this bit. You do the best.
Ultimately, this is going to be a really tough playoff campaign for everybody. All the sides are really good.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about finishing 3rd.
For fuck's sake, Steve. So he started with 2 AMC, swapped it. Now he's reverting back and taking Ebby Sand off.
He's going to feel schizophrenic, can he? Don't know whether he's coming or going.
Let's continue on then to see if that change brings about better fortune. And now Michael Carrick has been sent off, and Dragons are down to 10. Jens, going forward, I would appreciate it if people put their team name at the start. It used to be a rule, Jens. Again, all the managers took the piss and started doing whatever they wanted, so I just stopped asking. Steve, you are allowed to change it if you want to. Jens is asking on behalf of the channel.
I didn't realise people would stop doing it. I still name mine.
Yeah, no, most people don't. Martin and Dan do at Gazelles. Dimble does. Dimble always does it. His is always Churchtown Week, whatever. I'm trying to think. I think Scott's quite good. His normally says Bostock and then the number. Tato started by doing leads, but now he just calls it whatever he wants. Steez, as you can see here, he's kept this for a while now, so at least I haven't had to keep changing it. Carrick off on his birthday, says Ian. Roll with it, says Steve. Rob never does it. Never does it. He calls it whatever he likes. Yours are quite good, actually, Greasy. You always call it Loco something.
You got a rule on fish, mate. If it happens, you just got to say flat 4-4-2.
And Luca Toni scores late to surely. Oh no, Montella has cost Dudley Hill third place in the 89th minute. An absolute scenes. Luca Toni thought he had got that coveted spot for the away side, but Montella having absolutely none of it. Sorry, I don't name my tactic files appropriately. I'll endeavour to do so in the future. I tried to slide a pun in there, but sometimes forgot. Soz, says Tater. Montella scoring late to cost Dudley Hill third place. Look at that. 2 shots on goal, 2 on target, 2 goals. I mean, that's ruthlessly efficient, isn't it?
It is. It's what you like to see.
Dudley Hill absolutely battered the Dragons' goal and could only score 2 out of 14 on target.
Well, as Smuts was saying, Paul Robinson is preparing for Neighbours to be finished. So he's trying to get a full-time job.
Mike saying what a champing that is. Let's have a look. Paul Robinson only got a 7.
That's a travesty.
An absolute travesty.
Was it hitting other people off the line, or?
And not one single Dragons player. Like, there's a 9 in there, and he hasn't even got man of the match. The subs have all had impacts. Apology accepted from me, Tato. But it's the chairman you're going to want. Esky says Craig. Very fitting, says Mike. Duggan, big fan of ending the save v a bouncer's dream of a performance, says Smuts. Day it is who gets man of the match. Luca Toni with a 9 rating and a goal. He's getting into good form going into the playoffs again. To be fair, with the exception of the result, Steve will be quite pleased with that, won't he?
Yeah, he should be happy. None of the players on yellows got yellows. So, yeah.
Let's we will see Steve in the playoffs. Let's just for a moment discuss what has happened. What are you getting delivered?
My son's tablet that I got put on charge.
I see. Okay. I was going to say, you're not having drinks or food delivered, surely. I
am tempted.
It's tempted. Fifey, Shag, Marry, Main, the 14 Super League managers. Let me consider it and come back to you in a minute, Tater. Let's have a word on Dragons. So they've had 3 men involved. Jamie will forever be a Super League legend. We know he's had his own personal matters to attend to and has had to take a back seat. He's still involved somewhere, but he's had to take a back seat. His character is missed. His accent is missed on COCOMs. We hope to see him a bit more, maybe involved again somehow at some point, and we wish him well. Wooder is a character, but let's face it, he was a fraud and a cheat, so it's best that he's as far away from it as possible. And Then we've got Duggan, who has been the face of the operation now for some time. He also had another spell at Gazelles, which didn't end very well either. He's very, very good in the transfer market. Perhaps question marks over his ability to manage a squad? Or are you just not going to say anything?
I'm still not. The display of Dario Simic. He won 7 tackles, but he won 5 tackles, but only completed 7 passes. It just confuses me. So, yeah, he's done fuck all game, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, and let's not forget Smuts had a brief spell at Dragons, which he's just reminded me. It was his fault that people like Maresca were getting first team appearances.
Just appalling, isn't it? It's been a shambles. They had one good season.
Tato says PRG wasn't listening. Piss take.
You remember most of the time I don't really pay attention.
Well, congratulations, Steve. We'll see you in the playoffs. Duggan, I look forward to seeing what you have. When there's absolute, I've gone on record saying I don't think you have any excuses this year, but I look forward to seeing what happens when you have absolutely no excuses, because it is 100% your team next year, as you are one of those who has said you are absolutely staying on. Transfer ban on PRG, says Jens, for not listening. Too many fingers in the Dragon's pie through the save, says Dimble. We don't want Sloths Ledisford yet. Who are Haggis playing? Haggis Gazelles is fine. So Dan's in charge of Gazelles, so we'll come to them in a minute. Ian has topped the league and topped it comfortably in the end. Just 2 defeats all season. And when you consider how they've done in the saves leading up to this, it's a remarkable turnaround for them, isn't it?
As I said earlier on, it's amazing when he's playing players in the actual positions they're meant to play in. And also, basically, the squad is fulfilling the promise that they had actually had from the start of season 1. No one has been saying that the Haggis team is appalling. The difference was the manager.
We've had a review of you, Greavesy, in the chat, which I just want to draw your attention to, because I know you don't have the second device available at the moment. I won't tell you who said it. I'll let you guess, but it says, talking over the chairman, ignoring decent questions, losing more than Ledisford, shitloads of toes, fewer clean sheets than Ledisford, finishing below Alf, not listening, pathetic PRG.
Calm your tits, Tato. Calm your tits.
Rob saying it's amazing what Swanee has done at Haggis. And going back to Dragons, Dan says team is being renamed to Druggans. But no, on the match in hand, I think you're correct. Haggis have always had a team capable of challenging. It's nice to see them actually doing so. And it's interesting that they've done something that no one else has done in terms of this tactic, to the point, and they've done it so well that everyone has started copying them.
Yeah, it's nice to see a new tactic being played in the league, but it's nice to see players playing where they're meant to play. You got Joe Cole and Mendieta both playing centre midfield. You got an FC, and you got proper number 10 playing the number 10 role. You haven't got fucking Louis Saha playing out of position in AMC and wondering why the shit ain't working. You got Duff, who was a reliable right-hand side man. He's just a tank. He runs up and down that right-hand side. That's what he loves to do. And he's doing that. You got Giggs, who's a left winger playing left wing. It's players doing what they want to do and being allowed to do it. Jeremy's, I was saying to Ian when he was at Burns, don't play him at AMC. Jens Jeremy's is DMC all day.
Who would play Jens Jeremy's at AMC?
No, not AMC, MC. I wouldn't even play Jeremy's at MC. MC is, I'd never play him above AMC, above DMC rather. He just sits there.
He's just got better and better as the save's gone on, hasn't he, as well, Jeremy's?
I know. I wonder why he got binned off from Gazelles. Fucking moron, Duggan.
Let's.
Who Daisy got Ian got fucking Jeremy's for?
I watched the link I sent Alf when Ian Champney and Haggis were spoken as class back then. Perennial underachievers, says Steve. Right. Let's. You mentioned Gazelles there. Let's have a look at them. So as I say, Dan's in charge, but it's an interesting one because it's fair to say that there's a history between Ian and Martin. But Dan is firmly in charge. He's without Terry. He's without Smertin. He's without Mourinho. This is what he's gone with. It's very Astor.
I'd say it's very Dimble.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say more Dimble than Astor.
Actually, no. I'd agree. Actually, yeah, this is generally what Dimble would play.
It's got a nice balance to it. I am a fan of this style of tactic. It's what I sort of played when I first came into the league, like the first few games before I started to really lock down and move away from my wingers. And it's a tactic that works. I'm not a fan of Derek Boateng playing in the centre as the centre. George Boateng rather playing as an MC. Baranio is a better MC than what Boateng is, and Boateng is probably better DMC than what Baranio is. So yeah, Foe kicks people, which is good, but that's the same as what Boateng does. Zenden's been good for them on that left-hand side. Seedolf has been Seedolf, but has managed to get assists from corners. So, yeah. Barthez is Barthez, and Anelka up front will always cause problems for his team and the others.
We've got Ian saying, hurry up and get to 45 so I can make subs, please.
We don't care.
And then we've got Steve saying he misses the Midlothian days. A score prediction, please, Greasy.
Gazelles 1-0.
Ian thinks his phone's on the way out. Haggis have started quickly, looking to take the lead early. But
I've got to ask, if Haggis get through to the grand final out of the minor final, is he going to be on the fucking bus? Is he actually going to dedicate it to actually sit there and watch it on a computer?
Tradition dictates that whoever makes the final is on comms as well. So yes, it'd be quite funny for the grand final to be live from a bus in Edinburgh.
Won't even have the dedication to turn up.
That's a really piss poor half. It flew by. I'm surprised Haggis even created 4 chances there, to be honest. Not really much to write home about at all. So let's just very quickly bring up both teams' stats. Titus Bramble, the pick of the players for Gazelles. He's rating 8 at half-time, winning 4 of 6 tackles, 3 of 4 headers as well. Decent performance from him. Decent pass completion rate. Nothing lower than a 6. It's much the same over at Haggis, with Jeremy's being the pick of the players, but again, nothing higher than an 8, nothing lower than a 6. Martin confirming again that Dan is at the wheel. You got a team name in mind for next season, Ian? Let's just let Ian focus on this season for now, Tato. He's still got plenty to worry about. Dan saying as is. Haggis, it's worth noting because different managers have gone with different theories, not resting anybody for this game.
No, my theory is you don't rest players. You keep players in form and playing.
Del Piero coming off at half-time for Santa Cruz. So going more attacking our Haggis. Let's kick off the second half and see if it's a bit more entertaining for the neutral. Joe Cole going off injured. And Ian will be hoping that is not a long-term injury.
No, but you got to think he's resting that bloody Georgian twat, isn't he? That's why he's don't mind about Cole getting injured. He's got that out of league no hooper that can play for him.
Joe Cole's injury, then the talk. Santa Cruz did bits for Dimble at AMC. Fernando Mira is coming on.
He didn't really, did he? Because if he did bits, he wouldn't have let him go.
He was on 61% at half-time, says Dan. Ian ignored that fact. Let's resume the second half. And we are already at 60 minutes. And Gazelles take the lead. It's Anelka. And Seedorf causing havoc was the commentary text. He didn't see 7767. I'm blind 5, he says, Ian. But we stop it on 60 minutes. Anelka has scored. Seedorf has caused havoc. And they have been the dream partnership for Gazelles for most of this season.
Yeah, it's been nice to see Seedorf fulfilling a bit of potential, even though it's pissed off the media and his own fans.
And the fans hate him.
Anelka doing the same. He'll put the ball in the back of the net, piss off his own team as well as his opponents. But yeah, it sums up the team altogether, doesn't it?
Ian already making changes without even seeing his squad. He's bringing Jeremy's off for Helguera. But I imagine that is purely resting him to avoid another key player going missing. What have we got? And then for Dan, we've got Boateng off for Besadas. Playing him in random positions the last few games is pure vanity attempt. That's Tato in reference to the Georgian Kobiashvili that you were referring to as well earlier. Let's resume the action with Gazelles leading 1-0. Viduka with a chance to level things up. And as we slow the commentary down on 72 minutes, I don't want to jinx anything. As Casillas lets it run free, but Santa Cruz manages to clear. Haggis are currently 13 games without defeat. Are Gazelles about to end that run?
Oh, we're enough.
And they're not. Santa Cruz has equalised. On 87 minutes, there's going to be 3 minutes of added on time. And Santa Cruz, Mira, are they going to win it? Is Santa Cruz again? Giggs is fouled. Besadas goes in the book. Mira. Santa Cruz saved. And Besadas clears as we move into injury time. Samuel Helguera, Viduka. Still Viduka. Seedorf clatters into Casas. Giggs has a go from the free kick. Santa Cruz gets the loose ball. Barthez with the save. And there's the final whistle. Gazelles won. Haggis won. And they've come from behind. They've shown character. And that is exactly what Ian would have wanted to see. It was a much better second half for those of us who want to be entertained.
Yeah, Gazelles were all over him in the second half, weren't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The relief for Ian here, says Macca. He will be sweating on the fitness of Joe Cole, though, going into the playoffs. So as we have done, for those who aren't qualifying for the playoffs, let's just have a word. Martin stepped in during a difficult time for Gazelles. Managers were coming in and leaving and so on and so forth. He came in and steadied the ship. And then he brought Dan in, who had that sort of pre-season friendly game as a non-Super League manager. He brought him in, and he certainly came in with new ideas. Be interesting to see where Martin's future lies. Has he still got the hunger to go at it again? And if not, will Dan be applying to become a Super League manager in his own right?
Yeah, it'd be nice to see a bit more of Dan. He has an essence of shithousery about him with his defensive tactics, which I'm all about.
Yep.
And I'm all for. And it'll be nice to see another member of the dark side into the league if he does have more involvement. But I wish Martin all the best if he does leave, and much success if he does stay.
Lovely. Haggis, on the other hand, firmly in the playoff picture. Jens Jeremy's only played an hour, but that was long enough to get man of the match. Santa Cruz, as we said, scoring the goal. So he's in some form going into the playoffs as well. Ian must feel confident going into it 14 games without defeat.
I think he's shitting himself because he thinks he's going to lose soon. Because it's due. It
is due. I genuinely have no fear when we go behind, says Ian. Superb stuff.
He never has fear about going behind, does he?
So, that should mean yes. So, where do we want to go first? Because whichever one, potentially, I think it makes sense to do Levisford first.
Leddersford first, yeah, because if he wins, it puts more pressure on the last game.
Okay, let's do Leddersford first. And that means we go to Hodgie, who, as has been well documented, he had a nice, easy run of it with Devils. He chose to do something a bit different, and it left him in a position where he could have been finishing bottom, but that's now not the case either because of Northern Burns' result. So no pressure on them at all here tonight without Christian Kivu. This is the formation. You might recall last time out, Dudley just about, despite creating plenty, just about got the win when Sloths deployed this, which I'm sure you were very much in favour of.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the sweeper system. The DM, I'm not a fan of the 5 DMs either. It's although I am a very defensive manager, I do have my limits.
Is this a little bit more to your liking?
It is. I am always intrigued by a sweeper because I love the concept. And in theory, a sweeper system should dominate most, especially with having the DM as well, should dominate most football. If it comes back in proper football again, which is basically a lot what's happening with the wing backs and the three at the back, because you can say the two centre halves in the middle, the central one acts as a sweeper. So you could say it is coming back into the 4 in real life.
Yep.
I'm all for. Bring back the old-fashioned libero, I say, and crack on. But it'd be very nice and interesting to see if someone can get it to work in the match engine.
And Claudio Pizarro back from injury. It's too little, unless he's going to put on an absolute clinic tonight. It's too little, too late for him to challenge for the Golden Boot. But he's had a decent season despite Sloth's troubles, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a 7 out of 10 every week, isn't he? He knocks up goals. I think his price is going to be high in the next iteration because he's just a reliable goal scorer.
Just going through the chat then before we move on, we've got Rob saying come on the Spartak to make his job a lot easier. Mac is saying Woodgate being Beckenbauer reincarnated. Dan's saying he's now convinced that 1 is the optimum number of defenders. Ian's saying Greavesy, you didn't half slave us some amount of pish, mate. Exactly. Woodgate.
Why are you speaking the English?
Mon the Lead, says Tato. Well, let's have a look at what Tato has put together. He is without Perry, who's suspended. And interestingly, you might recall a couple of weeks ago when he didn't think he would qualify for the playoffs, he said Buccini would play every game to prove he could cut it in the Super League. It matters. He's dropped to the bench.
You failure, Tato. You failure. You championed that boy. You've nearly binned him off as quick as what you've binned off Diope when you made a bet with Macca that he would have more goals and assists than Nedved at the start of the season. And where is Diope now? Where is he?
Diope is in the reserves. I'm fending off bids left, right and centre.
You championed these bloody players that you have brought into the league and you won't even play them yourself. Shame.
But not only has he come away from that, he's also come away from his creative tactics and gone for something very generic.
He's showing his true colours.
When it matters, he wants to be the same as everyone else.
He's there. He is. It's oh shit, I might actually make it. I better do something that everyone else does and be sensible. not crazy, Tato. No more.
So what have we got here? We've got Jens calling in Puccini. Horrible treatment from the manager. Tato asking, how's that league looking, PRG, you fraud? Steve saying that Peddisford are finished. And Rob saying that Tato has bottled it.
He has. He can throw as much shit at me as you like, but it's not going to stick when you keep...
Rob adding into the mix, he has thrown his pub culture in the bin for glory. Pathetic.
It is.
He's taking it seriously again. Be aware, says Dimple. This is a title-winning tactic.
Manager of the year, remember. You got to be careful. When Tato takes it seriously, he's manager of the year. But the problem is, he's the most distracted manager of the year ever, because a butterfly will fly by and he'll play something batshit crazy again.
Let's kick this one off. A score prediction. Are Ledisford going to put Devils under pressure?
No, Spartak are going to win, and it's going to be the sweeper with a header, 1-0 win.
1-0 win, Woodgate with a header is the prediction. Well, they are coming forward, looking dangerous. And Constantinu missing a glorious opportunity for the away side. Nigmatulin pulling off another save. Tato predicting 2-0 Sloths. As we approach half-time, it's getting very, very nervy in the Ledisford camp as Ben Williams draws the first half to a close. Sloths have not had an attempt on goal in that half.
Sloths don't need an attempt on goal.
Well, if they want to win, they do.
Who says they want to win? Ledisford are the ones that want to win.
Ledisford are the ones that have to win.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a look at the Sloths tactics first. I think what we'll do, just to carry on building the pressure, is we'll play the whole second half on fast commentary as well.
Just for Hodgie, play it on normal.
Yeah, because he hates it when I slow it down. You want me to slow it down even more? You might not be at work tomorrow, Greavesy, but I am.
On very slow, the whole...
A goal will come, Tato, says Alf. Defender's not having much to do. Hodgie, you attacked more with the shit against me, says Steve. Hodgie is adamant he won't get beat here, says Ian. Hodgie's saying he'll leave. I think he means he'll leave it. I'm hoping he's not leaving. Tato already sending me tactical changes, but let's just have a quick look at his side. A couple of players maybe considering their fitness. It's the wider players, and they're the ones he wants to lengthen the arrows on. So Zé Roberto and Etzeberria, who are already a bit tired.
What is the point of Neil Scally?
He has performed admirably every season.
He attempts tackles. He tries hard, but he does...
That's quite a high tackle figure, I believe, compared to a lot of his counterparts.
Yeah, but he's having 95 tackles attempted. If you look at his tackles now, he's attempted 11 and completed 3.
Well, it's the end of a long, hard season, and it's a pressure situation.
It's because he's shit.
Hodgie just confirming, yes, he's not leaving. He'll just leave it till 60. Tato has made his tactical change, and then we'll roll till 60. I've slowed the commentary down to fast speed. And here come the away side, and there's Scally, Hippie, Zé Roberto, but Nigmatulin on the ball. More completed tackles than Petit, summed all over the season for Scally, says Jens. Danielson goes down. He was body checked by Vrede, who's worn. Free kick awarded. Amoroso plays it in. Solari.
How many tackles you made?
And still Solari. As we get to 56 minutes, Constantinu coming forward. Rayed gets the ball. Now Scally picks up the loose one, and Van Nistelrooy, he wins the free kick. Petkov steps up, it deflects off the wall, and Solari clears. And we reach the 60-minute mark, and this is where Tato earns his money. Season-defining half an hour here for Ledisford. And how much does Sloths play into this? Does Hodgie actually care what happens at this stage?
I think he does. I think he just wants to piss Tato off. Because he ain't the sort of person to throw the towel in.
Hodgie has gone as is for the last half an hour of his campaign. Condition is a myth for Ledisford, so I won't even show it because Tato won't pay any attention. Does he go more attacking? Does Fucini come on to be the hero?
I could see him coming on for Nistelrooy.
Jens, with all due respect, I'm pretty sure Tato earns his money as a teacher. If Greavesy just drunk a... Wait, what? Is Greavesy just a drunk heckler in the corner of a working men's club comedy night?
Yes.
Right,
don't want it to be nice. I'm not allowed to be nice.
Right, so Petrov off, and Fucini is coming on to make it a front three. No need for a CM right now. Move my fullbacks to MR and ML and give them an arrow, please. Like that, Tato? A Scally diagonal arrow to MC. Do you remember before Tato was involved and he used to chastise Barry Ferguson having that diagonal arrow?
I think it's more because he was an MC playing a DMC than the actual arrow.
No, it was always the arrow he had a complaint with.
But he played, when he was in charge of Haggis, he played Mendieta there with an arrow.
So that's the changes done. Will that be enough to help Leddersford get the result, to pile the pressure on Devils? Scally, Zé Roberto. Still Zé Roberto, but Nick Matulin again. Leddersford retain possession. Constantinu with half a chance. It's all Leddersford right now. So close from Ndai. Hippier now. Etzebaria. Still Etzebaria. He's tripped. Free kick awarded. And now Sloth's come forward. Constantinu goes into the book.
I like that it says Gally just got nutmegged by Parfenov.
Rayed. Puccini! Oh, he's done it! Absolute scenes as Leddersford take the lead, and it's the super
see
sub.
Tato taking his top off and just winging it around his head as he run around his living room.
And now Constantinu Van Nistelrooy. Free kick awarded. Constantinu lines it up. 2 minutes to be added on. Put it on very slow, says Alf. Puccini again. Oh, and it's a corner. Go on then, just for lols.
After the goal, Puccini just ran up to this bloody bench, didn't he? Stares Tato in the eyes.
Why did you drop me? Danielson collects it. Looks to go past Frede. Ref's reaching for a card. Has he not already been booked? Obviously not.
We'll find out in 2 days' time when the text catches up.
Danielson faces short. Lamey from the right-hand side. Aims for the near post. Scally gets to the ball first. And there's the final whistle. Leddersford have done what they needed to do. They have won to put the pressure on Devils in the final game of the regular season. Puccini with the goal on 75 to keep their season alive for 90 more minutes. And they have done it without Sloths having a shot on goal.
Remarkable stuff. The thing is just the thing of dreams, isn't it? Puccini coming in to prove Tato wrong, that he should have started ahead of the Greek waiter. It's just poetic justice, isn't
it? Just having a look in the chat. So going back to when the goal went in, we had Steve Wright saying, oh my, Jens saying, what a man, Dimble saying, oh my, Tato saying, even if we don't qualify, that's class. Rob saying it's what the neutrals wanted. He's looking up at the commentary box with his knob out, says Tato. Rob saying, for fuck's sake. Well played, Hodgie, mate. So solid with that sweeper. Game on. Well played, Tato, says Hodgie. Awesome match, says Ian. Always drama, says Dimble. So happy it was him that put us on the edge, says Tato. What else we got? Boiled them, mashed them, stuck them in the stew, says Macca. Let's just, if I can, a little word on Hodgie. He's managed just about every team in the Super League. He's come close. He's smashed records with Devils. He took on an interesting challenge with Sloths and I think improved them as a side, if not in position. And he is, he is one of only 2 men to reach the mythical 200 points mark. So he deserves a lot of credit. And on the assumption that he carries on, he will be a force again with a brand new club, won't he?
Yeah, Hodgie's very astute with his transfers. Unfortunately, he bit off a bit more than he could chew with the Spartak side that Rob had decimated over the seasons.
And look who gets man of the match despite only being on the pitch for half an hour.
It's all he needs to be on the pitch for, isn't it?
Well, congratulations to Leddersford, who have done what they needed to do. Let's go to the final league game of this save. And what a game it is. Fulchester at home to Devils. Look at this. Such an even even looking history between the sides, nothing to separate them. Fulchester, much the better side throughout the regular season this year, though. And now, as we know, all the pressure on Devils, who make one change from the side that beat Halls 3-1 last time out. Vieira replaces Wellens and drops into a more natural DM role with a forward arrow. Other than that, it's unchanged.
Yeah, Robin Hood loves his team, doesn't he? Arrows everywhere. Yeah, it's a well. If you look at the 11, I wouldn't have arrows on the MCs, but that's just me being me. It's nice to see Zari getting the game after everyone hammered him for not actually playing him, and now he's playing well. But yeah, it's everyone knows how star-studded it is. It's just Rob.
Let's then go to Fulchester, and as Maka says in the chat, enter Veron. Nedved suspended for this one. Yepes plays despite being a yellow away from suspension. But the big news is not only is Veron back in the team, but Bishkan, who has been out on loan all season, has been recalled and also joins him in that midfield.
Maka's made a lot of changes, and he's dropped a lot of big names, but there's still a lot of big names in that team. Zanetti's been playing well for him when he's been deputising. Quaresma's can do well. Duff's played well for him on occasion. And he's got little Seb in the centre, hasn't he?
Absolutely. And just to answer Dimble's question, yes, Devils need a point to guarantee a spot in the playoffs. Steve saying, Mad Arrows let Fulchester in behind. Hope it works, Rob. Let's find out. And I think we just play this whole game on fast commentary just to continue the suspense. Do you agree?
Always.
Maka saying he's going to get pumped here. Finally, a score prediction, please, sir. Devils only need a point. Will they get it?
No. Fulchester will win 2-0.
Fulchester 2-0 is the easy.
Not many teams beat Maka at home.
Well, there we go. Class entertainment. No, that's what it's all about, says Tato, who has said that Devils will certainly get a point. Absolutely nothing happens in the opening 10 minutes. Now, Devils come forward, and it's Mpenza and Henri, but it goes over the bar with the first attempt of the game. Devils come forward again. Vieira, Henri takes aim again. Kuehl this time. Mpenza unmarked. Buffon with a fine save. Bowyer takes the corner, and Mpenza with the header. He looks in the mood already, doesn't he? The Devils' star man. But now Veron picks up, and Figo scored! Advantage Leddersford.
Is that little step with the Veron with the assist putting on the blue again?
And Mpenza has another attempt, and it's gone in! And the returning Bishkan scores an own goal! And Devils are back in the ascendancy. Vieira, question mark, says Maka. Veron, still Veron, and now Ronaldo. Rob's wee bumblebee squeaking, says Ian. And now Bowyer, Zanetti gets in the way, Vieira picks it up, but Yepes gets the ball. And now a yellow card handed out. 5 minutes to half time. There's going to be 3 minutes added on to this half. We're into those 3 minutes now. One last chance maybe in the first half as Bowyer comes forward. And Ferguson scores! The long-time Devils servant has put Devils in a commanding position of the playoff place. Agent Igor, says Tato. Wow. So, Devils come from behind to lead at half-time, and that is enough to claim a playoff place if it stays like this. That is poor from Fulchester, isn't it?
It is. It's terrible. But Maka needs to look outside to see if there's Tato outside throwing potatoes at his windows.
Let's have a look at the home side first. And despite their inability to create anything, strong ratings from the defensive players. Yepes, Curtis, Zanetti, all rating 8. Bishkan scored the own goal. He's down on a 6, though. He's the letdown in terms of defensive players. Ronaldo and Comandini getting not much joy up top.
Yeah, they've just been put under too much pressure, haven't they? They can't get the ball out of midfield.
Alf saying, for 20 minutes you're in the playoffs, Tato, to which the reply is, I do not deserve the playoffs. Happy to see how it plays out. Maka saying, Castillo on for Ronaldo. As for Devils, Zawi there struggling a little bit on his 6. Surprised to see Vieira on a 6 as well. Harry Kewell not really having much of an impact. Getting defensive players getting the stronger ratings.
The defensive players tend to always get higher ratings on closer games.
Fulchester making a second sub with Van der Laan coming on for Bishkan. Will Rob be making any changes here? They are in the lead. Arrows off my MCs, please. That is all. Rob is going defensive. Someone else selling out. Let's resume the action and see how that affects things. Devils kick off the second half. Fulchester make double change. Montero picks up the ball now. Bowyer. Henry goes horribly wide. Henry gets the ball again, shoots from range. Buffon with the save. Van der Laan goes in the book. Now Quaresma. Van der Laan, Comandini, Figo, Duff. Frey with the save. And now on the counter-attack. Mpenza, Bowyer. Duff skips past Montero, but Vieira picks up the ball. Van der Laan. Comandini! Oh. It's Comandini again, but it's well saved. Nesta clears from the corner. Duff picks it up and Quaresma. Veron! Unlucky as we get to 62 minutes. Now we have to remember that there's not as much riding on it for Fulchester. Let's, while we wait for comments, the only comment so far is Maka saying as if Igor fucking Bishkan has decided the playoff race. Melito, the only outfield substitution available, so I expect Maka pretty much to go as is. He's saying roll. With half an hour to play, Tato's given up. Congratulations, Slothman, deserved over the course of the season. Glad we could at least make it interesting for a while, though. As for Devils, does Rob back this 11 to see it out?
You can see Van Bronckhorst coming on for Vieira.
Because of the yellow card?
No, because he's playing shit.
Jens congratulating Tato on being a big man. Still half an hour to go. Correct, Mike. Why is everyone giving up with half an hour to play? As is, says Rob. So both managers leaving it to chat. Let's see how it plays out. Nothing happens in the next 10 minutes. 15 minutes to go now. And Penza. Quaresma now and Figo. Veron picks up. He looks up. Quaresma, Figo. Oh, so close. Just over the bar. Into the final 10 minutes now. And time is ticking away for Ledesford. They need Fulchester to score 2 more. And it's Mpenza. He's fouled. Free kick to the Devils. Henry to shoot. Deflects off the wall. Ferguson picks it up. And due a centre-back sending off. And it's Kewell. He can't find space. Henry from 30 yards. And Bowyer with a diving header. And it's all Devils. Fulchester cannot get the ball. And there's Lee Bowyer free in the area. Off the bar. And Penza on the rebound. And goes behind. Mack is saying sorry to Tato as we go into injury time. Curtis heads it clear. Bowyer picks it up. Excellent tackle by Duff. Henry now. He goes down. Shoved by Yepes. Ferguson looks to deliver the free kick. Soroczynski.
It's quite poetic. The Liverpool player, Igor Biscan, is the one to put Tato out.
And there is the full-time whistle. And it's congratulations to Rob and the Devils who sneak a playoff place on the final day. Fulchester much better in that second half. But Devils held on.
Yeah, it was a very tight game. And I think the correct winner got the right result, didn't they?
Alf saying, well done, Rob. With all those legends in the team, you have a chance of the title. Ronaldo punched Mpenza, I think, around 10 minutes, Dan. Anyone want to loan Bishkan, says Maka. Having a look, Fulchester is the concern here. I mean, performance-wise, it wasn't too bad. Is it a slight concern that there's a lot of first-team players here for Fulchester who have now suffered defeat going into the playoffs?
Yes and no. I wouldn't be too concerned. He's got he's got a whole midfield to come in, hasn't he?
He has indeed. Delighted to announce that Constantine will be returning to Dragons on loan from now until the rest of the season, says Tato. Look at the victorious Devils side, and we've said at times that some of the big players haven't stood up for Devils this year. But you look at Ferguson, you look at Bowyer, you look at Frey and Soroczynski, they certainly have when it matters.
Yeah, and to quote a former champion of the Super League, when a man of the match gets an 8, you know it's been a shit game.
Quite. I am a big advocate for that. But congratulations, Devils, who have claimed the final playoff place. And that leaves us with this. First look at the classifieds. Astor 4, Northern Burn 0. Bostock 3, Locomotive Boston 0. Dragons 2, Dudley Hill 2. Fulchester 1, Devils 2. Gazelles 1, Haggis 1. Halls 0, Churchtown 0. Sloths 0, Ledisford 1. That means
Halls go down to 6.
Where are we? Halls do go down to 6 on... but because they're by virtue of a point difference. So that leaves the table looking like this. Haggis, Fulchester, Churchtown, Dudley, Devils and Halls finish in the top 6. Ledisford miss out by 2 points in the end. Astor and Dragons, the next best on 32. You finished 31, 7 points outside the playoffs, Greavesy. Then Bostock and Gazelles on 30. Sloths 21 and Burn 20. Fuck me, Greavesy, your goal difference is awful, says Tato.
Yeah, I didn't score after I sold Montella.
That means, so where are we? So the elimination games. So we've got Churchtown versus Halls and Dudley against Devils. Those games will be played on Sunday. Then the second legs of those games and the first leg of Haggis versus Fulchester, possibly Tuesday. I am currently scheduled to be going out with a couple of guys from work. However, it's not been 100% confirmed. So on the assumption that I don't hear anything, if I don't hear anything tomorrow, then it's likely that those 3 games will be played on Tuesday. Then it will be the second leg of Haggis Fulchester and the winners of the other games over 2 legs playing next Thursday. I am in Swindon the following weekend, but I might just take the laptop then to play essentially the semi-final, which would be the loser of Haggis and Fulchester versus the loser of whoever the 2 winners are in these games on Sunday. And that will mean that the grand final will be probably 2 weeks today. More or less. What's the latest erotic announcement, Fifey? Give us something, go on.
He was just doing it.
At the conclusion of Sunday's action, all managers will be invited to a Zoom conference. There is just the 2 games, as we said on Sunday, so it'll be a nice quick show. At the conclusion, all managers will be invited to something of a Zoom conference where, all being well, I will have my PowerPoint presentation for the future of the league, and you can all have your say on what the future of the Super League looks like, is today's announcement, Tato. I love a Zoom conference, says Rob. So yes, after the 2 games on Sunday, all managers will be invited on, and I can talk through my plans for next season. A PowerPoint class. Will Muscle Ian be there? No, he's on holiday at the moment, but I am due to meet up with Muscle Ian in about 3 weeks. We'll have a lads' night out.
Just in time for the redraft.
Just in time for the redraft, indeed. Did you download it off Twinkle? I have no idea what that means, so no. I'm a proud owner of Microsoft Office package on my laptop. Anyway, aside from that, What other news have we got? So I've been discussing with Steve the future of Stemp because unfortunately he has had a lot of going on in his personal life. Stemp will continue. Largely with me running it. There was due to be a fixture Saturday morning. However, I don't believe Steve actually managed to put the save out for the managers, so that probably isn't going to be the case now. But more news will follow once we've had a chance to talk it through properly. But for those involved in that, Stemp will continue. Perhaps it will continue just in the break between the end of the Super League and the start of the new one. That might be how I play it. But more to be confirmed. Other than that, if you want a little glimpse into what the future of the Super League presentation might look like, and thank you for those who are already aware of this and have sent me messages and stuff, my Fools Rush In podcast are going live for the first time tomorrow night via the Fools Rush In YouTube channel, and the software that we'll be using is the same software that the Super League will be using next season. So if you'd like to come and have a little look, or if you've got nothing else to do on a Friday night and you don't mind listening to me talk Swindon Town for an hour, I would very much appreciate the support of people in a live crowd. You can mock me all you want in there as well. There's live chats. That is due to go live from 8:30 tomorrow night. Me and the majority of the Fools Rush In panelists. We've worked quite hard on a few new bits and pieces for our podcast, which we're demonstrating for the first time, and just for you guys, whether you think it's entertaining or not, we've been, during all of our pre-season shows, we've ended it with some sort of game or quiz of some description, which for those of you who used to watch or listen to Fighting Talk on 5 Live, we always ended it with a Defend the Indefensible. There will be Defend the Indefensible again tomorrow night at the end of the live podcast, where I have contacted all of their wives and girlfriends, and we're doing a sort of Mr. and Mrs. style game where we find out what they really know about their partners. And needless to say, in the podcast chat, they are all bricking it about me being made to look stupid live in front of an audience. Is Ivo Graham going to be there? He isn't, but he is aware of the podcast and has been invited on. So at some point in the not too distant, maybe. Defend the Invincible, very nice. Love Island Super League style. Not enough women involved, unfortunately, Jens. No mocking 5 for your pod is class. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Greavesy, any final message from you for tonight and message for the 6 playoff hopefuls looking to get that final star?
No, best of luck for everyone. Steve's going to be shitting himself because I think he might actually be able to retain a title. Other than that, Viva the Super League, and whatever you recommend, I'm sure is going to be fucking amazing. Wow. We love you for everything you've done, and we just can't thank you enough for what dedication you do to put into this league. You are an absolute fucking legend.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, but I'm just doing my bit for a game where other people did their bit before me.
Yeah, you're doing a lot more than what other people. You're doing a lot more than what I fucking would. I'm a lazy arsehole. I don't even know what to do. So I just take my hat off to all of you.
Ian Edwards says thank you. Dan's saying good stuff tonight. Thank you very much, sir. And Dimble loves the Super League. From me and from Greavesy, until Sunday, a very good night.